Hi everyone, this is Stacy of Those Little Details. I just wanted to kind of pop on here and give you guys what you've been asking for, which is a tutorial on how to make the bubbles that I showed you earlier for my October spread. These here. It's pretty simple to do. I am not a trained artist by any stretch of the imagination, and a lot of the things that I do fail. This just happened to turn out the way I liked it. So as you can see, I've done some more bubbles on my future log and my to-do page. This would be the listing. I'll take a picture of that, of all of the things that I use to make the bubbles. And as you can see, if your water brush is a little bit too wet, it is going to blow out your lines, and that is not what you want. But I'm a big proponent of show the mistakes, because you get better by doing better and by practice. So let's go ahead and get started. So I use Tombows. This is the N95 gray. The light blue 451, the kind of bluish purple 533, and the bubblegum pink 703. I have a palette that I just absolutely love, and it's an old Ziploc bag that I separated out and used to take my Tombows, and all I do is color a swatch onto the plastic of each color I want to use, and then I will use a water brush to go ahead and make the watercolors water. This is a Pentel water brush. I believe I always use the fine. I'm kind of a klutz, and so I prefer that. If I can start small and then get bigger, it's always better than if I try to do it with the big water brush and then mess it up, and then you have to kind of get really creative on how you back that off. So I always start out with a fine brush. This is the Moxie Dory Compass Protractor, the small one. I'm going to use just these bubbles in here, or I'm sorry, these circles in here, and we're going to put some bubbles on my gratitude journal. Just a pencil. This is a Clear Point Elite made by Papermate, so has regular, I think it's 0.5 millimeter lead in it. Not a big deal. Bubbles, when they're clumped together in soap, overlap each other. So I had to remember that when I first started to do this, because I started to do it without overlapping the bubbles, and that just didn't make any sense. So you can see through bubbles. So we're going to go ahead and just do a series of circles, starting with the biggest center circle, and I draw pretty lightly at the base of my mass of bubbles. Do like this, just large overlapping circles. As I get around the top area of my bubble clump, I'm going to taper the bubble sizes off a little bit, and I'm going very lightly but dark enough also so you can see. I will go back and erase these lines so they're not completely seeable all the time. To give my bubble clump mass, I am going to go back in with varying sizes. If you've ever grabbed a handful of bubbles in your bubble bath, you know they can be all different sizes. This is going to be kind of a big clump of bubbles, obviously, and I'm going to write over the top of it do my daily gratitude. You're going to want some bubbles that are just kind of off by themselves, not in the clump itself. Again, whatever pattern you want to put out there. Looking for balance, so just kind of trying to see it kind of do this sort of thing. There. Maybe one more down here at the base. Okay, so we can put that aside. I also am going to use a jelly roll to do the lettering up top. That is the jelly roll, I believe the color is 725, something that Kara sent to me. And then just a click eraser to get with those lines. So move these out of the way. Handy dandy water brush and my amazing expensive palette. And we're going to start with the gray. As you can see, the gray is very, very light. I'm not looking for a lot of color load here. What I want to do is just kind of give it a little bit of a wash, but nothing major. And I have a little paper towel. As you can see, I start in the center to give it some color there, and I'm going to pick up that light blue, and I'm going to go around the edge of my bubble I've drawn. I don't want to deposit a ton of color. Bubbles don't have a ton of color, so I'm just going to go ahead and go almost all the way around my circle there with that blue. Now I'm going to pick up the kind of purplish blue. I'm going to go in, just kind of blend it in around the edges. Grab a little bit of pink, because that shimmer, that translucency, that holographic effect on a bubble. I'm going to kind of just blend it in. Bubble one down. Now as you're doing other bubbles, like I said, I go into the center with kind of that gray color. Basically, I'm giving it just a little bit of depth. And I'm going to take that blue. I'm not going to worry about touching that pink over here, because as the colors come together and blend, that's natural when you would see that in a bubble itself. And the purple. You can do whatever shading you want to do with these. I like to keep it very simple. I find that if I do anything more complicated, it tends to not look the way I want it to look, and then I get frustrated and I don't like it. Again, going into these big boys with the gray, giving it a bit of a color wash. I said, don't be shy about going over those colors, because you're see-through bubbles. And the bigger ones you can kind of use a little bit more. Give it more of a definitive edge and shading. those edges even under the other bubbles ensures that you're going to find that delicate edge that gives each individual bubble a definition. Leaving the centers largely uncolored, except for maybe a little bit of that gray, and that's because you want that to be a very delicate place. It's the thinnest part of your color scheme there. Bubbles are very delicate, they pop easy. Drop too much color like that there, just continue to kind of move it around with your water brush, pull it down your other sides. It'll fade a little bit and give you definition without being cartoonish or overpowering. Sometimes if you don't want to go in with the gray first, just go in with your blue. Give that purple a little love there. See, I dropped a little too much color on that brush, so just move it around. As this dries, it'll also lighten. Try not to let there be any definitive edges to your paint. You want them to blend really well. You also want to be careful about getting too much water on the page. Like I said before, if you have too much water, it'll blow those lines out and they'll bleed through. The thing about bubbles is they definitely do have edges. As you can see, I'm not cleaning my brush out in between colors. I'm okay with it if they blend in together. If I get a little bit muddy, I'm using so little color that I can really just kind of push it around the page. I love things that are soft and pastel. It's in my nature. Being a Libra, I'm an air sign. Love delicate things. I love quiet rooms. I love days without the television. And yet, I married a man who couldn't be quiet to save his life. Anybody else out there like that? So basically that's it. You're just going to continue on up the page like that, layering over, doing little modifications as you go. Where you see lines like that one, just take your water brush in and really soften that up. It's okay if it dries a little bit. You don't want to go in after it's completely dry, but while you're working, you can notice, oh, there's a harsh line there. Let me go ahead and soften that up. So that's it. I'll post a finished picture when I'm done. Thank you guys. See you later. Bye.